Here are today's top stories. President Duterte signs new deals with Chinese President Xi Jinping on his latest visit to China. Inflation in the first quarter of 2019 falls to 3.8% within the government's target rate. Pampanga is set to open a new beach along its portion of Manila Bay. And the National Commission for Culture and the Arts vows to protect the San Agustin Church's status as a World Heritage Site.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte is in China for the Second Belt and Road Forum. The president's visit to China has gained success early as he and Chinese President Xi Jinping signed two formal agreements and agreed to negotiate on territorial issues. Benj Bondo has the story.
President Rodrigo Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping have agreed that the issue on the West Philippine Sea can be managed through bilateral negotiations. This was raised during Duterte's fourth trip to Beijing, China, to attend the Second Belt and Road Forum. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said Duterte raised the issue of the West Philippine Sea, particularly the situation on Pag-asa Island, during his bilateral meeting with Xi. Panelo said Xi spoke of the importance of good neighborliness and proper handling of differences between the countries. Xi cited the Memorandum of Understanding on Oil and Gas when both Manila and Beijing suspended their differences for a joint exploration. For his part, Duterte articulated to Xi his position that the Philippines remains China's ally in Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, the two leaders witnessed the signing of the Handover Certificate Grant Aid for the Dangerous Drugs Abuse Treatment and Rehabilitation Centers project. Duterte and Xi also witnessed the signing of the exchange of letters on production capacity and investment cooperation between the Philippines and China. The agreements were signed after their bilateral meeting at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing on Thursday. The president is with other world leaders and heads of international organizations in the forum to discuss how to boost connectivity, further strengthen policy synergy, and build closer partnerships and promote green and sustainable development. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has vowed to provide assistance to the Philippines in order to boost its regional growth. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said President Duterte and Xi discussed how the Belt and Road Initiative would further help in the economic development of the Philippines. Panelo said President Xi manifested that China will provide more resources to Luzon and Mindanao to spur regional economic growth as well as promote Clark Green City through the building of an industrial park. Xi said the BRI would play an important role in the ASEAN-China relations and in the Brunei-Darussalam-Indonesia-Malaysia-Philippines-East ASEAN growth area through increased cooperation. Panelo, meanwhile, said Xi gave a word that the first group of Filipino teachers may soon start teaching English in China. Xi also committed to continue donating rice and fingerlings and importing of Filipino local fruits. The number of persons injured in the magnitude 6.5 earthquake that rocked San Julian, eastern Samar on Tuesday has climbed to 40. In a report from the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, the persons injured are all from Eastern Visayas. Also, around 93 families or 372 persons living in 18 barangays in Samar and Eastern Samar were affected by the earthquake. The NDRRMC also reported that 92 houses were damaged, 4 totally wrecked, and 88 partially in Samar and Eastern Samar provinces. And in other news, the Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, launched the Dismiss Disinformation campaign to bolster its war against fake news and to guide voters in the upcoming May 13 elections. PCOO Media Advisor Pia Roses Morato says the campaign aims to educate voters on discerning information and choosing the right candidates based on facts rather than fake news. Morato explained that disinformation is created on purpose and the public is most affected by its effects. For his part, Philippine Information Agency Senior Director for Strategic Benji Felipe warned the public not to like or share any information in social media without reading it first. PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar earlier urged voters not to allow fake news to ruin the chances of the candidates who can serve the country well. Metro Manila mayors expressed support for the proposed closure of bus terminals in EDSA. And a labor group calls for mandatory emergency protocols in workplaces. More on these and other news around the Metro from Janice Cabe.
Mayors in Metro Manila are supporting the initiative of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority to close down bus terminals in EDSA. MMDA Traffic Manager Bong Nebria says mayors approved a resolution of the Metro Manila Council saying removing bus terminals on EDSA will help ease traffic congestion. He says they have been coordinating with the LGUs with regard to the logistics of the removal of the terminals. The MMDA is eyeing to remove all 47 bus terminals along EDSA by June. Meanwhile, Albay Representative Joey Sarte Salceda urged the Senate to pass its version of the Department of Disaster Resilience Bill. Salceda said the proposed measure now commands more priority following the recent earthquakes and disasters brought about by the El Nino. The House of Representatives unanimously passed House Bill 6075 last year in response to President Duterte's call for a department tasked to reduce risks, respond to disaster impacts, and manage post-disaster recovery and reconstruction. In other news, the Trade Union Congress of the Philippines has called for mandatory emergency protocol standards to be implemented in workplaces. This after it received complaints about employers refusing to evacuate their workers in the recent 6.1 magnitude earthquake. TUCP President Raymond Mendoza highlighted the need for rules to implement workplace safety during emergency situations. The TUCP wants these emergency protocols included in future wage board tripartite dialogues. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cabe.
Still to come, inflation in the first quarter of 2019 falls to 3.8% within the government's target rate. Pampanga is set to open a new beach along its portion of Manila Bay. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Dahil ang Pilipinas ay nasa lokasyon na kabilang sa tinatawag na Pacific Ring of Fire, ang ating bansa ay madalas makaranas ng mga paglindol at pagputok ng mga bulkan. Kapag lumindol at nasa loob kayo ng isang tahanan o anumang establishmento, lumayo sa mga bintana at pintuan, manatili lang sa loob hanggang sa pagtigil ng pagyanig ng lupa. Gawin ang drop, cover, and hold. Dumapa sa sahig at magtago sa ilalim ng mabigat na muebles na kaya kang protektahan hanggang sa tumigil na ang mga pagyanig. Kung nasa labas kayo nang magkaroon ng pagyanig, lumayo sa mga gusali, poste ng ilaw, mga kawad o kable at anumang bagay na posible bumagsak. Kung nasa loob ng sasakyan, huminto at manatili sa loob hanggang tumigil ang pagyanig. Isang mahalagang paalala para sa masiguradong ligtas sa pagdating ng lindol.
Inflation dropped to 3.8% or within the government's target range of 2 to 4% in the first quarter of 2019. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno on Friday said inflation dropped from 5.9% in the fourth quarter of 2018. The latest figure also compares with the 3.8% inflation rate recorded in the same quarter last year. Diokno said the slower inflation is a result of a significant drop in food inflation due to improved supply conditions. The inflation rate previously soared to 6.2% and 5.9% in the third and fourth quarters of 2018. This was blamed on the implementation of the train law, movement of global oil prices, and the rise of prices of food and other commodities due to shortages. The former autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao posted a 7.2% growth rate in its gross regional domestic product for the year 2018. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, or PSA, the sectors of agriculture, hunting, forestry, and fishing remained with the largest share in the region's total economic performance with 55.6% input. It is followed by the services sector with 38.5% and industry at 5.9%. The ARMM, which now makes up the core territory of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region, ranked 5th among the 17 regions in the country in terms of the rate of regional economic growth in 2018. In his message read by Finance Minister Edward Guerra, Bangsamoro Chief Minister Al-Haj Murad Ibrahim said the region's growth rate substantiates that the Bangsamoro could be at par with other regions. The NAIA Consortium has submitted its rehabilitation proposal to the Department of Transportation to rehabilitate the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. The consortium was ordered to submit details on their planned improvements at NAIA before April 30. Among the issues that are needed to be settled is the consortium's proposed automated people mover that will be installed within the airport. Once the NAIA Consortium's proposal is approved, other companies will be allowed to submit bids to match or even surpass those being offered by the original proponent. Meanwhile, the NAIA Consortium said it is set to meet with the DOTR officials in the next few days to discuss its updated proposal. The proposal involves the expansion and interconnection of the existing NAIA terminals, upgrade of airside facilities, development of commercial facilities, enhancing passenger comfort and experience, and elevating the status of NAIA as the country's premier international gateway. Transportation Secretary Arthur Tugade earlier said they would cancel talks with the NAIA Consortium if no deal was reached by April 30th. A new beach is opening soon along Manila Bay if the bay continues becoming cleaner and safer for swimming. Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu raised such possibility as authorities in Pampanga raised the idea of opening one along its coastline. Cimatu said he can officially declare such beach as safe for swimming if the water there meets the DENR's fecal coliform standard. High presence of coliform bacteria, which comes from human and animal feces, indicates water contamination that has potential to cause disease. Manila Bay is shared by the borders of Metro Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Pampanga, and Bataan. Earlier this month, Cimatu officially declared Aguawan Beach in Bataan as safe for swimming. Aguawan Beach is the first beach along Manila Bay's coastline to be declared as swimmable since the government commenced rehabilitating this water body. The government is rehabilitating Manila Bay so water there can be fit again for swimming and other forms of contact recreation. Cannon Road in Baguio City is closed down following the earthquake that hit central Luzon. Meanwhile, a student activist who joined the New People's Army surrenders to the military. More on these and other news from the provinces from Benj Mondok.
Cannon Road has been closed to traffic pending the results of the assessment and inspection of local authorities. The Office of Civil Defense Cordillera Administrative Region said Cannon Road will be assessed for damage following the magnitude 6.1 earthquake that jolted central Luzon, which was felt at intensity 4 in Baguio City. Cannon Road will be temporarily open during weekends after a thorough inspection. Meanwhile, a student activist from Malabon City who joined the New People's Army surrendered along with her husband and infant child to government troops in Davao City. The organizer of the League of Filipino Students and Anakbayan claimed she was enticed to join the NPA to pursue her fight for social issues, but she witnessed abuse within their ranks instead. She also confessed that 25 other student activists from different universities in Metro Manila were recruited to the NPA. East Mincom Commander Major General Felimon Santos Jr. vowed to provide assistance to the surrenderer and her family. In Zamboanga City, the Japanese government has donated a mobile clinic worth 4 million pesos to the Zamboanga City Medical Center. Minister Makoto Iyori of the Economic Affairs of the Japanese Embassy said the donation forms part of their support to the ZCMC, which serves as the referral hospital in the region. Iyori said the acquisition of the mobile clinic was funded under the Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Projects extended by the Japanese government since 1989. ZCMC Director Dr. Nida Tan said the mobile clinic will boost the capability of the hospital in the delivery of health services to the different communities that it serves. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Up next, the National Commission for Culture and Arts vows to protect the San Agustin Church status as a World Heritage Site. The Philippine loans 2 Philippine Eagles to Singapore for preservation. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Pagkatapos ng lindol, alamin kung nagkaroon ka ng pinsala, gayon din ang iyong mga kasamahan. Mag-ingat sa mga basag na salamin at iba pang bagay na makakasugat. Magsuot ng matibay na sapatos para hindi masugatan ang inyong paa. Lumayo sa mga dalampasigan. Posible ang pagkakaroon ng tsunami kapag huminto na sa pagyanig ang lupa. Kung kayo ay nasa paaralan o trabaho, sundin ang emergency plan. Posible ang pagkakaroon ng aftershocks o mga pagyanig, kaya manatiling kalmado at sundin ang mga alituntunin para manatili kayong ligtas. Tignan ang mga linya ng tubig, gas at kuryente kung may sira. Kung meron, isarado agad ang switch o valve. Kung may amoy ng gas, buksan lahat ng mga bintana at pinto. Magmadaling lumabas at i-report sa mga kinauukulan. Nakasaad ang hotlines ng mga ahensya na maaaring tawagan kapag may emergency o krisis. Isang paalala para masiguradong ligtas sa pagdating ng lindol.
The National Commission for Culture and Arts vows to ensure that the San Agustin Church in Manila will not lose its spot in the list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. UNESCO warned that the construction of the Chinese-funded Binondo Intramuros Bridge would encroach in the San Agustin Church's buffer zone required to be a World Heritage Site. 3 other churches are at risk of being removed from the UNESCO World Heritage List, namely San Agustin in Paway in Ilocos Norte, Nuestra Señora de la Ascensión in Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur, and Santo Tomas de Villanueva in Miagao, Iloilo. NCCA Commissioner for Cultural Heritage, Father Harold Rentoria, said they are waiting for the Department of Public Works and Highways to submit its heritage impact assessments on the churches. Should the studies confirm that the project may indeed cost the San Agustin Church's World Heritage Site status, the NCCA will discuss it with the DPWH. And in our foreign news, New York City is holding its annual Cherry Blossom Festival this weekend. The Brooklyn Botanical Garden is hosting the Sakura Matsuri Cherry Blossom Festival on its 38th year. The event celebrates Japanese culture with live music, artworks, a marketplace, and Japanese-inspired activities. The festival happens as the trees bloom at their peak, which happens for at least 10 days every year. More than 200 flowering cherry trees line up at the garden. Organizers said the festival attracts about 60,000 visitors yearly. In sports, the San Miguel Beermen has booked a spot in the PBA Philippine Cup Finals after beating the Phoenix Fuel Masters 105-94. The Beermen finished their semi-final series with long-distance shooting complemented by Junmar Fajardo's inside play. Fajardo notched 17 points and a game-best 16 rebounds. Chris Ross led the Beermen with 24 points, anchored on 5 triples. Alex Cabagnot made 22 points and 7 assists, while Arwin Santos finished with a double-double of 12 points and 11 rebounds. Matthew Wright placed the Fuel Masters with 20 points. San Miguel Beermen will face the winner of the face-off between Magnolia and Raynor Shine on May 1st. Meanwhile, Alex Cabagnot was slapped with a 20,000 peso fine after an apparent hit on RJ Jazul's groin in Game 4. However, the league spared Cabagnot from suspension as the referee did not call out Cabagnot with a flagrant foul. The Philippines is sending over a pair of Philippine Eagles to Singapore for safekeeping and breeding. This is in line with efforts to preserve the birds and protect their species from extinction. Janice Cave has the story.
The Philippine Eagle, the country's national bird, is an endangered breed due to massive deforestation, climate change, and hunting. The International Union for Conservation of Nature says there are some 180 to 500 mature Philippine eagles left. The Philippine eagle is a top predator responsible for regulating population of smaller animals that may pose danger to humans and crops. For decades, the government has worked on protecting these birds from imminent extinction. In further efforts to preserve the species, the Philippines is set to provide the government of Singapore a pair of Philippine eagles. This ensures that there will still be Philippine eagles left for breeding in case an outbreak of disease either wipes out or significantly affects the species population in the country. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources says the joint effort of the Philippines and Singapore to preserve the Philippine eagle starts this year. Loaning a pair of Philippine eagles to Singapore is in line with Protect Our Species, the 2019 Earth Day theme. This aims to help raise awareness about accelerating extinction rate of species worldwide, intensify species conservation efforts, and promote more species protecting individual action like stopping use of pesticides. The Philippine Eagle Foundation-led program for breeding Philippine eagles produced 28 captive-bred eagles between 1992 and 2016 at Davao-based Philippine Eagle Center. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. And here's another look at today's biggest stories.
President Duterte signs new deals with Chinese President Xi Jinping on his latest visit to China. Inflation in the first quarter of 2019 falls to 3.8% within the government's target rate. Pampanga is set to open a new beach along its portion of Manila Bay. And the National Commission for Culture and the Arts vows to protect the San Agustin Church's status as a World Heritage Site.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.